Okay, so what I have here is a canvas map in Obsidian, and this was created by working through around 25 articles of Janice Waldron's, sometimes with other authors such as Kari Veblen, mostly looking at her work related to online music communities and offline music communities and how they connect with each other, and what the implications are for music education, particularly around community music practices and broadening the kinds of things that we do in music schools. And so I, over the past couple of weeks, have been creating this canvas map based on all the notes that I took of those articles. And where I am in my process now is, now that I've made my literature notes, created concept-based notes from those literature notes, then moved some of those concept-based notes into this canvas map and started to put those notes in relationship to each other and to kind of create categories and ideas and ways of thinking about things. I'm now at the point where what I'd like to do is take everything from the canvas map and start to figure out which of all these many possible things that I could talk about, that I'll talk about in a video for a panel presentation for an upcoming music education conference called the May Day Conference. And I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to choose of this yet, but I do have a sense of the kinds of directions that I would like to go in. So for instance, I have an area of this canvas map called Future Directions, where as I was creating that, I was really thinking around, okay, here's where I see things possibly going. Here are some possible future directions. And so a lot of my thinking in creating that part of the canvas map, you could look at it over here, and there's a bit of lag in my use of Canvas, I've noticed lately. And I don't know if it's because it's so big or my computer's just getting slow, or maybe it's because I'm trying to live stream and do this at the same time. But as I was putting together that part of the canvas map, I knew, like, okay, this is the primary area of what I'm going to be speaking about, because one of my contributions to the panel is thinking about future approaches to curriculum, emerging technologies, and how Janice's work can inform some of the possible futures that we might be addressing. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and sorry about that pause there. I'm going to go ahead and start working with the map. And what I did to set this up for myself is, and I haven't worked with this scale of a map, of a canvas map before. I've worked with much smaller canvas maps around, like 1 or 2 articles or a class that I was working on. But this is the first time where I've had, around 25 articles worth of information plus related ideas that happen to be in my Obsidian vault, and trying to work with it to figure out, like, what do I do with this? So what I did to help with that process is I created a couple of additional notes and tabs. One thing that I did that I forgot about until just now is, because this map is this canvas is being a little laggy, I created an additional tab over here where if Obsidian wants to behave, I think I might need to restart Obsidian. I've never actually had Obsidian lock on me before. Okay, I think I'm going to restart Obsidian. So let me put a pause to this. Okay, so what I did is I created a couple of notes and tabs up at the top here. So right now I'm at the top left of the canvas, and I know that over to the right in this area is that box, that group that I was showing a moment ago about futures. So what I did is I made a duplicate note over here where I'm just taking the same note and opening it up in a separate tab, where it's focused on future directions. That way I can kind of toggle back and forth pretty easily. That makes it easy for me to kind of move ideas back and forth. And then I have a new blank canvas in case I want to create a whole different canvas that's focused exclusively on what I would be talking about during the presentation, where it kind of gets rid of all the other information. And I could see myself toggling back and forth between, the very full canvas map over here and then this cleaner map where I'm rebuilding a new map just based on what the presentation would be. And I could see doing this for papers later on. I haven't used this approach before, but I'm going to experiment with it. And then the other thing that I have is I have actually two different notes over here, or two different files. So one file is this where it says made a video script, and this is what I'm planning to be will eventually be the finalized version of what I would be recording, the video that I would be recording for the presentation, for the panel. But what I have a category or a header here of just draft ideas that I'll be playing around with as I'm interacting with the canvas map. And then I have an earlier draft ideas where if I were opening this up, it just has tons of, just content that I was just extemporaneously writing that I could bring also in to this what will eventually be a finalized note. The nice thing about, using all these multiple notes is you can kind of copy and paste between them or embed things. So right now I'm focusing mostly on just making sense, reacquainting myself with this canvas map that I made over a couple of weeks, thinking through it and figuring out, okay, this looks interesting. Maybe this will go into some ideas of what I'll talk about in the presentation. Okay, so first of all, I know as I was looking at this earlier, one of the things in this area is sort of new media and music education frameworks, ideas that are related to, the big ideas of how we might think about some of the things that Janice saw in her research. And I think because I'm going to be talking about some emerging technologies, I'm going to be probably referencing some of the things that she talked about in terms of critical perspectives on technology. So what you're looking at here in this group are notes where I could actually open up these notes if I wanted to and read the details in them. But for now, I don't need to do that because I have a sense of what's in there already. I want to grab this set of notes all the way over here, and I could actually turn this into a group by clicking this and calling this technology. And now it's a group. But one thing that I realized, unless I'm not doing this correctly, and if someone knows how to do this better than I do, let me know. But I thought that I could click on the group and copy and paste it. But what happens when I tried to do that, I'll just show you here, is if I copy it and paste it, let's say over here, you'll see that it doesn't actually, it gets the group outline, but it doesn't take the content of the groups with it. So that's not exactly what I want to do. So let me move this out of the way here. Oops. And interestingly enough, it grabbed content that's not supposed to be in that group. So that's a little bit of a wonky thing that I will probably write about somewhere in an Obsidian forum, maybe, if someone knows how to do that, because that could be really damaging to the canvas map. So what I'm going to do is grab the group over here, but then I'm going to actually grab all these notes with it, and I'll copy and paste that. So now I'm copying this, and I could put this in future directions, but it's not exactly future directions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my blank map where I already put this in here. So I'm going to get rid of this now. I was just doing that to test it out. I'm going to paste this technology group. So I know that, okay, in my presentation, I'm likely to work on these ideas, and then I can go in and open up the individual notes and make sense of them. So let me come back to this map over here and take a look at what else is in here. So new media and music ed, music digital culture, digital literacies and music education. I do want to grab this because one of the things that I think I want to talk about is that part of our responsibility as these emerging technologies are taking place is to understand them, and to try to become literate and fluent in these technologies, and to help students be literate and fluent in these technologies, so that we can both think about these technologies in terms of critical perspectives, but also in terms of their possibilities. And so the technologies that I'm thinking about are things like artificial intelligence, Web3, and the sort of decentralized web, and then also VR, AR, and XR as emerging technologies that I think have implications for music learning and teaching. And I think if we were to look at Janice's work, one of the things that she was doing was she was looking at the ways that online and offline music communities were leveraging technologies to be musical, whether that involved creating music, performing music, sharing music online, discussing music, and all those types of things. And so I see those three technologies that I mentioned as sort of like emerging technologies. I know they've been around for a while, but they're not fully present, or maybe even present, in most of music education, particularly K-12 contexts. So I think it would help for us to be able to think through critically those technologies, and also to think about their possibilities. And I think the notion of digital literacies will be helpful with that. I'm also going to grab these ideas of hybrid digital acoustic online offline musicianship and hyphenated musicianship. These are things that I've been talking about for quite a long time now, and I think that they will have a place in here as well. So let's grab those and put those here. And I don't need to put this into an order yet. I just want to kind of dump stuff in there. Let's see, what else do I want to grab from here? Oh yes, bicontextual musicianship. This is something that Janice was talking about, where she was referencing a music teacher who had experience on auto harp and folk music traditions, but was also a band teacher. And so she was thinking about the different contexts where people engage in music and teach in music. And so she was framing this person as having the ability to be bicontextual, which I really appreciate that perspective. I think that'll be important for thinking about to what extent are we helping students or supporting students in becoming bicontextual in their own musicianship, and also to what extent are we bicontextual or multi-contextual, polycontextual in our own music teaching. So grab that one from over there. Presentational, performance, participatory performance. We've been talking about these ideas now for quite a while in the field, so I don't feel like I need to rehash that. But at some point, I probably will be referencing participatory culture. So just in case, I'm going to grab these cards here and stick them again in here. And I'll move these over here. All right, what else from this area? I mean, when you have a time limit, there's only so much you could talk about. But I think this is also not just preparation for what I'm going to talk about in terms of like all the things that go into that canvas are things that I will reference or speak about, but as I'm preparing for it, ways that I'm going to be thinking about things. And any time you're preparing for a presentation, you're also kind of building your own knowledge, thinking about things in new ways, and there's whatever the next thing after that's contributing to. I don't want to get too much into the weeds of these ideas over here of network technology, triple revolution, addressing technology from an ecological approach. These are all really important, and they're ways that Janice was talking about, sort of like the emergence of social media because she was writing about this for over 2 decades. And so, in the early days of thinking about these things, some of these ideas were very new to music education. So she was introducing these ideas to the field. So I might reference that she was talking about these things, but I don't think I'll be speaking about them too much at this point in my thinking about what I'll be sharing. Community as social networks rather than physical place. Okay, so I know that I don't know that I will definitively be talking about virtual reality and augmented reality and extended reality. I think I might be. And so some of the ideas over here with community as social networks rather than physical place, music communities blurred, overlapping, and cross-pollinating, and then some of the stuff with presence in a networked era, disembodied self online. I think that will be important to think through and speak about a little bit. So I think I'm going to grab all of this. Don't need that one. So I'm going to grab all that and move that again into this map here. And I think this is sort of like a meta set of ideas. And the nice thing about having a new map is I can make a little card here and just make a note to myself. Reference when working with VR, AR, and XR. And I could eventually link that to those notes and facts. Why don't I just do that now? So I'm backlinking, and I'm going to put VR. That's good enough for now. All right, let's see here. Okay, so there's all of this information on YouTube, and I know that I'm pretty sure that one of my other colleagues, Chris Chiari, will be speaking about this, so I don't need to go that much into YouTube. Whoa. What happened to the canvas map? Yeah, it's been acting up quite a bit lately. I think Obsidian is just being really slow in response. But that's a little... If I didn't trust the system, I'd be pretty scared right now that I just lost everything that I've been working on for weeks. But I know that's not the case. But I think I'm going to pause it here, actually stop the stream now, because this is really, for me, just an experiment of live streaming, something that I'm doing, which I've not really ever done before. So hope that was interesting to you, and I'll probably be back with more live streams of my research process as I continue this project, but also future projects. So hope you found that somewhat interesting and possibly helpful.